Cartoons, the guilty pleasure we all pretend to outgrow, but secretly can't resist. Imagine this, you're sitting on a couch, eye glued to the screen, the theme song of your favorite cartoon is playing. You're suddenly 10 years old again, and are enjoying the colorful story in front of you. There's a hero on a journey, guided by a moral compass, trying to defeat the evil villain. As you laugh at the comedic moments of the show and cheer on for the hero, something unexpected happens. You're hit with a huge plot twist. Suddenly, the oh so evil villain you once despised wasn't evil at all. The hero, once seemed so flawless, now has a darker side. You start seeing the gray between black and white. When the episode ends, you realize that you've learned something more meaningful than you thought you would. You suddenly start seeing the world around you with a new perspective you learned. It's surprising how cartoons, often dismissed as something just for kids, have such a profound impact on many lives. Many shows delve into these complex issues like diversity, identity, and encourage moral reflection. They're not passively reflecting the world, but are actively shaping our understanding of ethics, politics, and personal identity. By engaging with these stories, we start to see the values of the world differently. One of the most significant ways cartoons shape the audience is by challenging the simple ideas of good versus evil, and make the readers think about the right or wrong. The Last Airbender doesn't just tell a story of a hero's journey, but also teaches the audience of ethicality and morality. There's always another solution, just like how Aang constantly refuses to resort to violence and look for alternative paths to solving the conflict. Even in the face of overwhelming power and war, in his mind, peace was the most important goal. When he was confronted to kill the Fire Lord Ozai to end the war, he refused. The story forces the viewer to ask, is power best fought with more power? Can peace be reached without settlement? Rather than a conventional idea of good guy versus bad guy, the Avatar presents the idea that a true hero isn't necessarily someone that wins through destruction, but someone who can make a path to reconciliation. Aang's decision to find peaceful solutions even when the world around him demanded war shapes the value of moral leadership and encourages the viewer to think about the importance of choosing compassion over vengeance. Zuko's character arc was one of the most compelling in cartoon history, and is another example of how the show shapes value around identity and redemption. Early in the series, Zuko was introduced as his antagonist driven by desire for acceptance and approval from his father. And this inevitably led him to a path of violence and dishonor, making a pretty tragic figure. However, he redeemed himself by questioning the belief that had been instilled within him, and by choosing his own path. Zuko's story of starting as a vengeful prince to a hero teaches the audience to understand personal transformations. His journey of transformation isn't just about switching sides, but confronting how beliefs are shaped by the environment, family, and personal struggles. When a child watches Zuko struggle with his own identity and redemption, they learn that it's okay to make mistakes. People are not defined by their past, and change is definitely possible. But for a person to undergo a change for the better, they must have self-awareness and the willingness to unlearn harmful values. This is exactly the kind of ethical engagement that shapes a person's worldview. Moving beyond Avatar, The Simpsons continue this tradition of using animation to shape societal norms. While The Simpsons may only seem like a simple comedic representation of an American family, they're actually a commentary that criticizes the absurdity within American culture. Homer Simpson's, for his flaws, represents a stereotypical American working class man trying to make sense of a world he cannot control. Marge, playing the long-suffering wife, tries to put up with her children and husband, which represents the strength and resilience of a mother trying to hold her family together in the middle of chaos. Through satire, the audiences are forced to reflect on the complexity of family dynamics, societal expectations, and the influence on consumerism. The political commentary of The Simpsons is also relevant. The viewer are more aware of how power works in this world through characters such as Mayor Quimby and Mr. Burns, both of which are representation of greedy and manipulative politicians that are often seen in our real world. One of the best examples of this can be when Bart fished up a three-eyed fish caused by the pollution from Mr. Burns' power plant. To prevent his plant from being shut down as a result of this issue, Burns runs for mayor and promises to lower taxes. Despite being hated by a majority of the public, through his propaganda, he still ended up tied in a post with a more beloved Governor Belly. This teaches the audience of how powerful figures like Mr. Burns can manipulate public opinion through the use of propaganda and dishonest promises, all in return for their own benefit, even when their actions can be harmful to the environment or society. The audience is more trained to recognize these type of manipulation in real life and become more aware of how similar tactics are used by real politicians and corporations. Representation is a very crucial thing in our society nowadays. For decades, the cartoon industry was dominated by the traditional white and male characters, but that's changing. Steven Universe is a perfect example how modern animation are challenging the outdated norms. This show delves deeply into inclusivity and diversity, with non-traditional family structure, LGBTQ representation, and characters going through the journey of self-acceptance. The message is that everyone deserves to see themselves represented. And representation matters. Most studies show that media influences our lives and our perception of what's normal. When kids see characters of different races, genders, or sexual orientation treated with respect and given the same complex stories, they start to perceive the world around them in the same way, normalizing diversity in real life. At the end of the day, cartoons do more than just make us entertained for a few hours. They shape our understanding of the society, our moral values, and our relationship with others. From the Avatar: The Last Airbender, challenging the concept of moral leadership and ethical responsibilities, to Steven Universe changing the way we think about gender and relationships, cartoon can no longer just be a passive form of entertainment, but a tool to actively change our world.